Good evening, I'm Duncan Golestani. Abu Bakr Jar always suspected his son's murders were linked. They were killed 4 years apart in Newham, just yards from each other. Now police have confirmed they believe their murders are connected. Speaking for the first time to our reporter Ria Chatterjee, the father of Ahmed and Junior talked about the agony of losing two sons and not knowing why.
This small memorial on the street requires some upkeep.
This photo is just a week before Junior died.
But it's nothing compared to the emotional maintenance that's required when both your sons have been stabbed to death.
And this one is Junior's colleagues.
Abu Bakr Jar goes over the phone call he received in April about his son Junior.
Abu, you need to come back home. I said, why? He said, it's bad news. I said, why? He said, Junior is down on the floor. I said, I'm not sure he can make it. There was police around. He was in a tent. I couldn't see him until a couple of days that I went to see his corpse in a mortuary. That was devastating.
The second phone call about a murder in the family, the second visit to a mortuary, the second round of waiting for justice. Ahmed Jar was killed 4 years ago. He was 21, and Mr. Jar sees some similarities in his son's murders.
They were killed on the same month. They were killed within the same hour.
We definitely think there may be a connection in the group, wider group involved in both murders, one in 2017 and obviously one in April of this year.
Junior was approached by someone driving this Land Rover when he was shot and then stabbed. It had a false number plate at the time and was later found burnt out. Do you worry that justice might not be served for either of them?
Well, I'm worried about that because like my eldest son is now going, this is the 5th year.
Junior was 18 years old. That means he was 14 when his older brother died. Ria Chatterjee, ITV News.
A convicted terrorist was let out of prison despite talking openly about committing jihad and expressing a desire to kill the Queen. Sudesh Aman stabbed 2 people on Streatham High Road 10 days after being released. The police had wanted him to remain locked up. Earlier, at the inquest into his death, the governor of Belmarsh suggested Aman revelled in his notoriety. Katie Barnfield was at the hearing.
In the red jacket is convicted terrorist Sudesh Aman, less than 2 weeks after his release from prison. Inside a Poundland store on Streatham High Road, he buys 4 bottles of iron brew, kitchen foil and brown tape. These are the items he would use to make the fake suicide belt he was wearing 2 days later when he stabbed 2 people before being shot by the police. At the inquest into his death today, jurors were told about a long list of incidents while he was inside Belmarsh prison for terror offences, which made officers afraid he could plan an attack if he was let out. The jury was shown a letter from the Metropolitan Police to the Belmarsh prison governor asking for Sudesh Aman's release to be delayed. It said he'd been trying to radicalise other prisoners, had expressed a desire to kill the Queen and regret that he hadn't been the one to kill Lee Rigby. It also said one of his close associates inside the prison was Hashem Abedi, the brother of the Manchester Arena bomber. The letter went on to say it remains the view of the senior investigating officer that Aman poses a significant risk to the public on his release.
Obama says a Britain out of
prison told the inquest that Aman was still released as planned because there was not enough time to refer the concerns to a panel who had the power to add time to his sentence. On the same day he bought the items for his fake suicide belt, Sudesh Aman was filmed going into another shop where the jury were told he spent time looking at knives, all the while under police surveillance. 2 days later, he would return to that same shop to steal the blade he used to carry out his attack. Detective Chief Inspector Luke Williams told the jury that if police had found the belt he had made, it would have been grounds for his arrest. But his room at a local bail hostel was never searched. Instead, he remained free from prison to attempt the violence that officers had feared all along. Katie Barnfield, ITV News.
This evening, a vigil has taken place to honour the lives of sisters Bieber Henry and Nicole Smallman, who were murdered at a park in Wembley last June. Today would have been Nicole's 29th birthday. Politicians joined women from across the capital to remember all women who have lost their lives to male violence.
You know, I've danced in the park with my friends, and you know, we think about that now, we talk about it, and then there's silence afterwards because we think that could have been us, and I just think, you know, all women's lives matters.
The Metropolitan Police is fighting the reinstatement of a senior police officer who was convicted of possessing a child abuse video. Superintendent Robin Williams was a highly decorated officer when her sister sent her a clip over WhatsApp so she could investigate it. An appeal found her sacking unreasonable, but the Met is applying for judicial review to overturn the decision. Now, the reopening of the West End continues apace with a revival of Jersey Boys at the Trafalgar Theatre. The huge hit has a new cast. Sally went to find out how they coped during lockdown and to hear a few numbers.
It is home to some of the greatest hits. Sherry, Sherry baby. And bringing it back to the West End, a brand new cast. Who were rehearsing today exclusively for us. Jersey Boys tells the story of Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. The prelim shows have apparently seen a culture-starved audience applauding for a deliciously longer than normal amount of time.
I don't for ages. Yeah, it's probably a bit my fault because the next cue's from me, so the whole show can't move until I give a certain cue.
And you were just loving it.
They were just screaming at us, and I was like, I'm not moving, I'll stand here.
It's hard to believe that Ben and his beautiful voice, who plays Frankie Valli, is only 21 and hasn't even graduated.
I mean, we were teasing you earlier saying you've just done your GCSEs, but I mean, you are incredibly young and you haven't graduated.
Yeah, I'm graduating September, coming now, and yeah, I feel very lucky.
While Ben was studying during lockdown, the others had to take on a variety of jobs just to make ends meet.
Well, I was actually really lucky, actually, and I'm going to sound like a bit of an idiot, but I actually managed to film a few episodes of Emmerdale.
No!
It wasn't quite as glamorous for Carl, but he took on delivery driving for Asda in his own unique style.
Yeah. Were you singing in the van?
I was singing in the van every day, every day.
And if you ever bump into one of these guys, I have a great tip for getting a little tune out of them.
Can't remember how Who Loves You goes.
Yeah.
Who loves you, pretty baby? Oh my goodness!
And finally, if they had to sum up the show in one word, here's how they do it.
Heart. Soul.
Yeah.
Escape.
Yeah. It's all on you, Carl.
I can't do one word. It's just going to be amazing. Oh, what a night.
Very good, very good.
The show opens officially next week, and what a night that will be indeed.
And Sally's back now with the weather.
Making the most of it, whatever the weather. Octopus Energy sponsors ITV London weekday weather.
Hello there, and a very good evening to you. Well, it's make the most of it weather, really, isn't it? Little moments like this to capture on camera. We've got some sunny spells tomorrow, but still a few scattered showers. Some of them could be a bit heavy, and then a bit more unsettled as we head into the latter part of Thursday and Friday. So back to this evening, things clearing up out there, that cloud clearing, clear skies, and with light winds as well. We could see a bit of mist forming to the south of Greater London, particularly tomorrow morning. It's going to be a bit chilly as well out in the countryside. The temperatures could well dip down into pretty single figures. But we get off tomorrow on quite a good note. Some sunshine around, mixed in again with a little bit of cloud here or there, and a few showers brewing as we go through the day. But it's looking like they will be quite well scattered. The odd one could be a bit heavy and thundery, but plenty of dry weather, and where we get the sunshine getting up to 22 or 23 degrees. And if you've got plans tomorrow evening, again, any showers fading away, most places staying dry, perhaps a touch of evening sunshine as well. Now into Thursday, we've got rain moving in later on Thursday into Friday. Friday, we're possibly looking at some heavy downpours and thunderstorms, staying a bit unsettled for Saturday, but easing into Sunday. That's it for now. Good night and sleep well.
Octopus Energy sponsors ITV London weekday weather.
Just before we go, how's this for a welcome home? Pummel horse champion Max Whitlock has been united with his family after returning home from the Olympics. He's now having a well-earned rest before getting back to training. And that's it for now. We're back in the morning. Good night.